What's going on, everybody? So, today I wanted to update y'all on how I'm feeling while also sharing some motivation for whoever needs to hear it. So, of course, I did a post on my community where I said that, I haven't really just basically venting just a little bit and saying that a video was going to be uploaded on a certain day. Well, a lot was going on that day. I still uploaded while not being so confident in the title or the tags, like the behind the scenes things. I felt like I was rushing myself, but I still wanted to get the content out there. Well, I learned a lesson, as I've learned before, that if you can't really focus on it 100%, then maybe you should wait till another day. And then another day passes and another day. And that's kind of how it went. The video didn't do so well. So, me being me and feeling, some type of way, I deleted the video. Now, I wouldn't advise anybody else to do that. I feel like you have to go through the motions of the YouTube algorithm. It teaches you this or that. But when you're not really confident, and it doesn't even have to be in content creating, when you're not really confident in yourself, in your ability, I think that you do need to just take that time to reevaluate, recollect, rethink how you're going to execute it differently moving forward. Don't completely shut down, because usually if I feel slight depression, it could be very slight, or it could be a feeling of the weight of the world on your shoulders. It could be this or that, small or a very, massive feeling of stress and anxiety and being unsure of yourself. You can't shut down for too long, because I've done that. I've done that in the past, and it doesn't really work. So here I am, I wanted to come on here, and this isn't all the way live, you feel what I'm saying, but I will be in the chat, you know what I'm saying? I will be responding to y'all and things like that. This will be some sort of live, you know what I mean? But I have a lot of content to catch up on. Within this video, I will be talking about what Candace Owens said recently relating to the school shooting that happened a few days ago. Tragic, very, very tragic. 3 children and 3 adults were killed. The suspect being another, but hey, these type of people, they want to go down in history for something. And it really doesn't matter what it is, It doesn't matter if it's good or bad in that mind state that they're in. And as I'm talking about how I was feeling, or, me shaking out of how the sadness that I feel, we have to talk about everybody's mental health. So this will be mental motivation, mental health, this will be a discussion about all of those things, because it's very important. Now, what I was finna say, y'all. So, somebody on my community post had responded, and it ain't no love lost. Usually I block them because I'm still in that mind frame where I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. I'm at my wit's end. I'm flustered, I'm overwhelmed. And basically, I'm overworking my mind, to be able to do all of these things in one day. And sometimes it's just not realistic. But somebody commented and responded to what I said. And they said, well, didn't you say this about 2 weeks ago? And that's probably true. I probably did say just that a few weeks ago, because depression can be momentary. Depression or sadness can be momentary. It can last a week. It can last 2 weeks. I can get over it in 2 days. And then, the next few months will be bliss. And I'm thinking of everything in the most positive way. And then boom, on that 3rd month, I slip back into sadness. Something may trigger me. And that's just like any other person. I want people to know that no matter what type of numbers somebody has or how consistent I've been versus, me continuously or, repetitively saying, I'm getting myself together here. I'll be back this day. Folks gotta work through their mental blocks. Because if not, I'm going to keep coming on here complaining. That's number 1. Crying. That's number 2. And venting may be healthy, but I feel like now I'm in a space where I want to work through the problem and the obstacle at hand and then talk about it once I've found some solace with the situation. That goes for co-parenting. That goes for being a single parent and what I go through with that. What I be wanting people to know is, regardless of how much somebody uploads on here or how frequent or how not consistent, people live regular lives. For a lot of people, YouTube is a extracurricular. You might get $100 or $150 every month or every other month. But I don't even want to talk about money, because I don't necessarily do this for money, because that's not what I started it for. And getting paid after the 3rd or 4th year, it is reassurance to keep going. It's not what I was in it for. It wasn't what I was in it for, in the beginning. I think that people stop doing YouTube after they see, well, I can make $100 so here or there. YouTube really ain't cutting it. And to me, it's not supposed to fund my whole lifestyle. I'm working towards everything that I want and I feel that I deserve. That requires a whole bunch of time away from YouTube. So within combining, being a full-time single parent, being or custodial parent, whatever you want to call it, being a content creator, and then going out into the workforce, I have to do all of those things and be good at all of them. So yeah, I'm trying to smooth it all out, and it's going a lot better than I thought it would. It's going a lot better. And I just take it day by day. Some days I wake up and I just know that my mind frame, I just gotta stay away from sharing my opinion of a lot of things, because it's going to come across negative. It's going to come across very judgmental or angry. And, they already say that about the black woman. They already say those things. So if I'm creating content, I want it to be coming from the most non-biased, the most positive mind frame that I can have. That takes a lot of prayer. It takes a lot of will. It takes a lot of manpower and positivity that a lot of people can't even imagine. And I didn't mean to spaz on cuz. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't mean to spaz on cuz at all, as far as my response back to him. But it's like, I got to get myself together. And whether I want to let y'all know that I'm still here with y'all. I'm still, on this grind, but I'm taking my time to get myself together. Is that okay with you? Is it okay? I'm taking my time to process every single change that is in effect as far as my personal life. Is that okay with you? And that's just what I see it as. That's just how I would put it to anybody, And I didn't block them, and I think that that's growth as well, because sometimes I just find that what some people say is insensitive, and that's why I don't update people on the regular, whether that be social media, Instagram, on my story. I don't update people about how I feel on the inside, because I don't want that to, trigger anybody else. Who's to say they're not going through, a positive time, and I remind them of a time where they was thinking the same thing. I don't want to do that. So money isn't everything. Your mental health is. I say that to say what Candace Owens said about transgenders is very insensitive to the sensitivity of the situation. Now, what she said, let me grab my phone. Hold on. I think I can find it. And this is pertaining to the school shooting that happened, and the person behind it was a 28-year-old female. And I forget the name of her, but that person went by him and things to that nature, him and his. Let me go to what Candace Owens said. And I'm going to tell you why I just think that overall it is counterproductive to how we need to handle this. Like, yes, gun laws and things like that need to be in full effect, but let me pull this up really fast if it stop acting like a ho. I know I ain't put it on here. No. Jesus Christ. Come on. Okay. So Candace Owens believes that transgenderism is a mental illness. Now, I wouldn't say that. You know what I mean? Like, my thoughts on Candace Owens, I think that they'll forever stand the test of time. And I truly believe that she says a lot of things because she lacks empathy. And the second thing is, she says it for shock value and for a certain reaction, or just a reaction period from the masses. That's what she thrives off of. What I will say, because I don't even like, that's why I say individuals a lot, because we are all a part of the human race. And one thing that I can say that we have in common is that a lot of us are going through identity crises, okay? A lot of us are trying to figure out who we want to be, and that could either be in a minute sense, whether we want to be a follower or a leader, or it could be in a sense where we don't know if we want to be a man or a female. You know, some men are born and they strongly believe, you know, until they make that change that they should have been a female, and then vice versa. A lot of us are going through identity crises. I don't even know if that's how you say it, but that's how I'm going to say it, right? And a lot of times, you know what's crazy? Say a black person is walking down the street and there are obvious signs that something may not be right with them, whether that is drug induced or, you know, it may be a mental health issue. But a lot of times, and I watch cops, okay? I watch cops. So that makes me an expert, right? Yeah. I watch cops, and a lot of times, you know, the cops are riding down the street. They see a black person disturbed, in a disturbed state, and they go to approach them. Sometimes they do that to white people, and that's of the trailer park demographic, but they can point out when a black person is disturbed and they confront that. But when it's a white person of a demographic that they wouldn't expect to go on this type of rampage, it happens. They ignore it and it happens. A lot of people know this person. They don't say nothing. They walk past this person and get a creepy vibe, or may even talk to them about something in, you know, passing. And they say something that makes the hair stand up on the back of their necks. And they just brush it off. And even family of a person that is disturbed, they rather avoid them, live in the same house, avoid them, not really talk to them throughout the day, or most days the parents scared of them, still don't say nothing to the authorities, warning them that something is going to take place. Most cases, the parents of this 28-year-old didn't go into their daughter's room or son's room, didn't look through the journals to see where their mind was, what they were saying about their friends, if any. What kind of dreams were they having? What color is their damn room? If it's a very dark color, very, very dark, especially pitch black, you got some problems. Most cases, nobody gets involved until something like this happens. I went to a majority black high school in one of the poorest parts of the city, one of the most dangerous parts of the city, and the most neighborhoods that you could call gangs, right? And it's this one high school that's in a area with a lot of different hoods that are beefing with each other. They all go to that one school. There is a metal detector. There was security guards that will wand you and things like that. You got to check in your ID, your school number, your whatever, right? We had to take our shoes off. they will even wand our hair. Because yes, you can sneak things in. I learned so many different ways to hide things. So many different ways. But I never hid weapons. It was done. But out of all of the lockdowns that we had because there were shootings happening in the area or a bomb threat down the street or something, there was never any school shootings. There was never anybody that either was bullied and came up to the school and wanted to kill teachers and other students. There was never any of that. I knew, for example, this one guy, he snuck a Glockiana into the school, right? And I had no idea that he had did that, right? I did know that prior to him sneaking it into the school, he was having trouble with this one group of guys that were all, together all the time, and they wanted to jump him and things like that. So one day they got into it, and it was just 1 versus 4 or 5, right? They got into it, and he got the guy that I knew, he got chased out of the school, right? So hence, either the next day or the next week, he brought a gun to school and they found it and things like that. And I never saw him again after that. And I always wondered, what happened to him? He just left at the middle of the school year, you know what I mean? So I seen him on a bus one day. And this was maybe last year or something like that. And he told me that he snuck the gun in the school and he feared for his life. And I felt for him. Even though it would have been a scenario where that is a school shooting. And, it is a targeted situation. It wasn't a complete rampage. And that's no excuse. No excuse, right? Because there have been other situations where, this one guy, he had this very intricate bun with his dreadlocks. And Deuce was in that bun. It was iconic the way he did it, but I'm not glorifying it. I'm just saying. It was just if they wouldn't have wanded his hair, they wouldn't have been able to, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, okay? I'm just telling you the different scenarios that, in my time that have happened. Okay. So, the thing about it is, within being transgender, I do believe it is a identity crisis, but it's all about how you say things and the effect that it has on the masses. What Candace Owens said, it could make people that believe that go to different levels of violence to prove that. And I'm saying that because it's already a lot going on within hate crimes. And I could break it down to so many different things within the gay community and the transgender community. I could say that, yes, some of them, they make it bad for others because some of them do use deceit as a way to fulfill their sexual desires, or, to get a straight guy, or to get a guy to believe that they are actually a woman. You know what I mean? I could say all of those things, but just as this person who committed this crime and killed 6 people was in emotional turmoil, you wouldn't want more of them to be coming out of the woodwork just as emotional as they are, acting the same way that this 28-year-old acted. You wouldn't want that. And you wouldn't want people to start going to prison more for committing hate crimes to extinguish transgenders. What would you say then? Then it's completely out of your hands. See, one thing that Candace Owens doesn't do, or she does, excuse me. One thing that Candace Owens does is after she says something, she completely washes her hands of it. That's not what a true activist is supposed to be about. Because if you're saying this, you're going to have to stand front line with the actual cause at hand. You're not willing to do that. You lack the empathy to do that. And it's not about me not liking Candace Owens. It's the characteristics that she has that leave a bad taste in my mouth, to be honest. I see her as a deceiver. And this is not to bash her or anybody that believes in what she says, because there are some hidden gems within what she says, but it's a lot of hate within her words. And I think that it's because she doesn't understand, and correct me if I'm wrong. And a lot of people will say I'm wrong, so don't correct me. A lot of people doesn't understand what transgenders go through and why they even chose that path. I strongly believe that she is that type of person. And just because you don't think that way and you weren't born believing that you should have been a man or whatever the case was, doesn't mean that you shun it and that you call them a mental illness. Because transgender is within the gay community. You're going to have to say the whole thing. You're going to have to say the whole gay community. It's not just transgenders. You can't just break it down and single them out when it's LGBTQI plus so and so and so and so. You're saying them, the whole thing, not just transgenders. I don't even know if transgenderism is a thing. I have no idea. But there is something repetitive that I'm seeing with Candace Owens. And it's the simple fact that, just like she said with George Floyd, right? He was a drug addict. He had this in his system and so and so and so and so. He was using counterfeit money. Since she doesn't come from that background, since apparently she never been around sketchy people or people who, and not to say that George Floyd is sketchy, I'm just saying people who come from harsh backgrounds and had a hard life growing up and they're still figuring their life out. Since she never was around people like that, she can't even think about it. She rather shun it, judge it, than try to understand, than try to put herself in their shoes. But when she was in the hospital, correct me if I'm wrong, she was in the hospital and she wanted us to feel bad about whatever she was going through as far as getting discharged. She wanted us to be in her shoes as a mother and feel how she feels, stressed and all these things. Meanwhile, few days later, you go to Black Lives Matter lady house. You're a mess. You wanted us to be in your footsteps, in your shoes, and see how unfair it was for them treating you a certain way in the hospital, but you can't put yourself in anybody else's shoes. You can't even attempt it. Anybody choosing to be a drug addict or choosing a hard life, you think it's a choice, right? And I would partly say the same, but you don't want to understand it. That's the thing. You don't want to understand anybody, being an addict. You don't want to understand anybody being confused about who they want to be. And like I said, we as individuals, no matter what the situation is, or whether you go by he, her, they, I, whatever. A lot of us are struggling with that. That's not just a transgender problem. And we can say the same about mental illness. That's not just a transgender problem. Depression is not just a transgender problem. It's not. No matter how much a lot of them will want to see it like that, or no matter how much Candace will want to see it like that for herself. Oh, depression is just, for a certain... No. Anybody can struggle with their identity and who they truly want to be. So, I'll just leave it there. Had to say that, but also what I will say is, after this video drops at 2 o'clock, I will have a video dropping as well. The link to that will be on my community. And also, I will be uploading daily shorts around 7 o'clock. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. I'm getting back into the groove of it. You feel what I'm saying? And I got a lot of good things coming. So make sure you stay tuned. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for hearing me out today. Be blessed. I'm praying for y'all. Y'all pray for me. And we're going to continue on and on. It's not a race. It's a marathon.